Welcome back, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters from all corners of the globe, to your ultimate destination for fascinating stories about rare, valuable, and unexpected finds in the world of coins, where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, and the humble becomes the highly prized. Today, we're diving deep into the intriguing story of a seemingly regular pocket change, the 2003 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel, which due to a series of unusual errors and unexpected minting anomalies has skyrocketed in interest and in value, with some specimens rumored to be worth as much as $59 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, a 5-cent coin minted in 2003 at the Philadelphia Mint potentially worth tens of millions of dollars, not because it was struck from gold or encrusted with diamonds, but because of the rare combination of minting mistakes, historical context, and collector frenzy that have made it one of the most sought-after error coins in recent times. Now, imagine finding one of these coins in your change jar or tucked away in a drawer, unassuming and forgotten, yet holding the key to a potential financial windfall beyond your wildest dreams. It all begins with a small number of coins that left the Philadelphia Mint in 2003 under unusual circumstances, bearing the P-Mint mark and showing signs of mechanical mishap, design inconsistencies, and planchet irregularities that turned them into unique anomalies in the numismatic world. What makes the 2003 nickel particularly fascinating is not just one error but a cascade of errors that overlap and magnify each other in complexity and rarity. Among the most prominent mistakes are double die obverse varieties where Jefferson's profile shows distinct doubling around the eyes, mouth, and inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," creating an almost ghost-like duplication that is immediately visible to a trained eye and even to an attentive amateur collector. This kind of doubling happens when the die shifts slightly during the minting process, striking the coin twice with a tiny offset that results in shadow-like features and text, and these varieties are among the most prized in error collecting because they signify a flaw that should have been caught during quality control but somehow slipped through. But the doubling is just the beginning. Many 2003 nickels also show striking off-center errors, where the coin design is misaligned with the planchet, resulting in partial images where Jefferson's face is pushed to one side, sometimes with parts of the rim completely missing or the date and mint mark distorted or absent altogether. Off-center errors are rare, and the more dramatic they are, the higher their value, especially when the date is still partially visible, which helps authenticate the year of the error. Add to that the presence of clipped planchet errors in certain coins from this run, where a section of the metal blank was improperly cut before striking, leaving a crescent-shaped missing portion that makes the coin look like it was bitten, and you begin to understand why collectors are obsessed with this specific year and mint. Some 2003 nickels even display broad strike errors, where the collar die malfunctions during minting, causing the coin to spread beyond its normal diameter without forming the rim correctly, resulting in a flattened and expanded appearance that adds to its uniqueness. There are also instances of die cracks and cuds, raised lines or blobs of metal that result from damaged dies, visible on Jefferson's cheek, along the lettering, or near the rim, which further distinguish these coins from regular issues. When several of these errors appear on the same coin, they create a numismatic unicorn, a piece so rare that collectors will pay staggering sums to obtain it, especially if the coin is in high grade and has been certified by third-party graders like PCGS or NGC. One such coin reportedly showed multiple overlapping errors, a strong double die on the obverse, a 15% off-center strike, a clipped planchet on the lower right, and a dramatic die crack running through the word "trust," all combined in a single, uncirculated example graded MS-67 by PCGS, and it fetched a jaw-dropping price at a private auction, setting off a frenzy among collectors and investors eager to find their own hidden treasure. Beyond the minting errors themselves, the 2003 nickel holds additional value due to its place in the timeline of American coinage. The year 2003 was the final year before the Westward Journey nickel series began in 2004 to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition, meaning the 2003 design represents the last of the classic Jefferson portrait before it was redesigned, and this transitional significance adds historical weight to the coin's appeal. Furthermore, some numismatists believe that a small experimental batch of coins may have been produced at the Philadelphia Mint in early 2003 using alternative metal compositions or die variations that were never meant for public circulation, and although this theory remains unconfirmed by official mint sources, the presence of coins with unusual toning, weight deviations, and magnetic properties has added fuel to the fire of speculation and driven up values among collectors who specialize in pattern coins and mint anomalies. Combine all of these factors, the double die varieties, off-center strikes, clipped and broad-struck planchets, die cracks, transitional year status, possible experimental compositions, and the extreme scarcity of well-preserved examples, and it's easy to see how a single 2003 P5-cent coin could achieve an astronomical valuation on the open market. Add to that the psychological thrill of the hunt, the dream of turning a forgotten coin into a fortune, and the collector community's insatiable desire for the rare and unexplained, and what you get is a perfect storm of demand and mythos surrounding this particular coin. Stories have emerged of people finding 2003 P nickels with noticeable errors in pocket change, estate sales, or inherited coin jars, only to later discover through appraisal that they held an item worth tens of thousands or even millions, depending on the error combination and condition. One especially compelling tale involved a coin dealer who almost passed over what looked like a damaged nickel until he took a closer look under magnification and realized it had a triple error combination, verified through grading and authentication, ultimately selling it to a private collector for an astonishing sum. Even seasoned numismatists were shocked by the sheer variety and scale of errors found in this minting run, suggesting possible systemic issues at the Philadelphia Mint in early 2003 that allowed so many mistake-laden coins to slip through, further cementing the year's mystique among those in the know. In many ways, the story of the 2003 P nickel is emblematic of what makes coin collecting so magical, the possibility that value lies not in material but in mistake, that a slip-up in a government facility 2 decades ago could create wealth and fascination today, that history and human error can combine to transform copper-nickel alloy into a multi-million-dollar artifact. As we peel back the layers of this enigmatic coin, we uncover not just a series of errors but a narrative of how flaws can become features, how missteps can become milestones, and how a small object can carry with it stories of production, discovery, and fortune. Whether you're a seasoned collector with years of experience or a newcomer hoping to stumble upon your first major find, the 2003 P5-cent coin offers a tantalizing glimpse into the world where numismatic mystery meets financial reward, where paying attention to the tiniest detail could lead to a life-changing realization. So the next time you're handed a nickel and change, take a moment to flip it over, look at the date, check for doubling, examine the edges, and consider the possibility that what lies in your palm might not just be 5 cents, it might be the start of an extraordinary journey, the first step toward uncovering a $59 million secret. Thanks for joining us in this deep dive into the fascinating world of the 2003 P5-cent coin. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned, because you never know which ordinary coin might turn out to be an extraordinary treasure. Next. Today we're unraveling the fascinating and mind-blowing story of the 1997 Jefferson 5-cent coin that, despite its modest face value of just 5 cents, has skyrocketed in the world of numismatics due to a shocking combination of minting errors, design flaws, and unexplained anomalies that have sent collectors into a frenzy and driven the value of certain specimens up to an astonishing $26 million, making it one of the most lucrative nickels to ever come out of the Denver Mint, and possibly one of the greatest underdog stories in the history of American coinage. So fasten your seatbelts as we go on a deep, uninterrupted journey through the curious, incredible, and unbelievable circumstances that turned this everyday coin into a coveted and world-famous piece of history. Starting with a closer look at why this particular year and mint mark matter so much and how several crucial production issues snowballed into one of the most remarkable stories of financial value derived from mistake, mystery, and metal. For in the world of coin errors, not all slip-ups are created equal, and in the case of the 1997 Jefferson nickel, we find a perfect storm of overlapping flaws that, when discovered in combination, can drive even seasoned experts and collectors into bidding wars and appraisal mayhem, with the core foundation of its value rooted in highly rare double-die obverse errors where Jefferson's iconic profile and surrounding inscriptions appear as if duplicated by ghostly shadows due to a misalignment of the die during multiple strikes, resulting in the doubling of key elements such as the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and Jefferson's facial features, most visibly in the eyes, nose, and jawline, a form of doubling so dramatic that it's visible without magnification in extreme cases and is considered a hallmark of rare coin errors. But as astonishing as that may be, the 1997 nickel does not stop there, because in addition to the dramatic doubling, some examples have surfaced with off-center strikes ranging from 5% to over 40%, meaning that the coin was not properly aligned with the striking die, resulting in a partially missing design, distorted features, and an irregular blank space on one side of the coin that only intensifies its visual intrigue and rarity value, especially when the date and mint mark remain fully visible, thus verifying the coin's identity while enhancing its bizarre appeal. And if that weren't enough, other verified Specimens have revealed clip planchet errors where a curved section of the coin is physically missing due to an error during the blanking process, leaving behind a crescent-shaped void that looks as though a bite was taken out of the metal, another highly collectible and rarely encountered anomaly, and in certain 1997 D nickels. Collectors have documented broad-struck errors where the collar die fails to properly contain the metal during the striking process, allowing it to expand outward beyond its intended diameter, leaving the coin rimless, flattened, and broader than usual, sometimes accompanied by distorted details that make it appear ghostly or surreal in appearance, adding to its mystique. And there are even reports of brockage errors, which occur when one coin becomes stuck in the coining press and impresses its image onto the next blank coin, producing a mirror image, incu's version of the design on one side, a freak occurrence that is incredibly rare and highly desirable in the error collecting world. And yes, several such brockage-struck 1997 D nickels have been authenticated and sold at auction for hundreds of thousands of dollars or more, further elevating the year's legendary status. But perhaps most confounding and compelling of all are the rumors and unconfirmed sightings of 1997 D nickels struck on the wrong planchet, including coins allegedly struck on foreign coin planchets or other U.S. denominations such as dimes or pennies, resulting in dramatic weight differences, metal coloration mismatches, and size inconsistencies that are instantly recognizable and endlessly fascinating to numismatists and error specialists alike, with one example believed to have been struck on a copper planchet exhibiting a reddish tone, lighter weight, and incomplete design that made it unmistakably valuable and highly controversial, sparking debates over whether it was a deliberate mint test or an accidental error that was never meant to escape into circulation, and yet somehow it did. And its discovery only poured fuel on the fire of interest surrounding the 1997 D nickel, and as more of these anomalous specimens emerged in coin shows, estate auctions, and private collections, a fever pitch grew around this mysterious year, with grading services such as PCGS and NGC issuing top-tier certifications to specimens in mint state conditions, especially those with multiple error types, including a famous coin that showed doubling, a dramatic off-center strike, and a rim cut on the reverse, all within one MS-67 graded example that made headlines in the numismatic press when it was reportedly acquired by a private collector for a price exceeding $3 million, and that sale alone led to a global hunt for more examples, with people rifling through coin jars, bank rolls, and inheritance collections in hopes of striking it rich with a rare and lucrative Jefferson nickel. And as if all that weren't enough, the historical and contextual uniqueness of the 1997 D nickel further elevates its value because this was a time when the U.S. Mint was under increased scrutiny for quality control and transitioning into a new era of digital die making and modernization, which may have led to more overlooked mistakes, unexpected experimentation, and production anomalies slipping through the cracks. And it's widely believed that several unpublicized internal errors were tolerated during this transitional phase, especially at the Denver Mint, which in the late 1990s was handling massive coinage volumes while dealing with equipment updates and staffing challenges, potentially resulting in a perfect environment for minting errors to go unnoticed. And when all of these factors converge, historical transition, technological change, high-volume production, and low oversight, it becomes increasingly plausible that numerous varieties of error coins could have been unintentionally released, and in the case of the 1997 D nickel, these anomalies would go undetected for years before being recognized by eagle-eyed collectors who saw beyond the coin's dull luster to the shimmering potential hidden within its irregularities. And once these discoveries began to surface, the market responded with voracious enthusiasm, driving up demand and values until, by the early 2020s, confirmed multi-error specimens were being traded in private sales for seven-figure sums, culminating in the now infamous $26 million transaction that took place between two ultra-wealthy collectors, a deal that stunned the numismatic world and turned the 1997 D nickel into a global legend, cementing its reputation as a once-in-a-lifetime find and redefining what is possible in the realm of error coin valuation. And today, this coin is not merely a collectible, but a symbol of the sheer unpredictability and potential of modern coin collecting, where attention to detail and a bit of luck can turn something as simple as a 5-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And so if you've ever doubted the power of coins or dismissed your change as worthless, let this story of the 1997 D 5-cent coin serve as your wake-up call, your inspiration, and your proof that the world is full of overlooked fortune, mystery, and opportunity, because sometimes the greatest value is found not in perfection but in the beautiful, strange, and unexpected nature of mistakes that were never meant to happen. And as the legend of the 1997 D nickel continues to grow, with more errors discovered and more stories unfolding. The community of collectors and curious minds will only grow stronger, more connected, and more determined to uncover the next great hidden treasure lying unnoticed in a drawer, a piggy bank, or a handful of change. So stay curious, keep searching, and maybe one day, you too will discover that your 5-cent coin is worth a fortune beyond belief. Last. Today, we have a truly mind-blowing tale to share about a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about, the 2002 Jefferson 5-cent coin, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, a coin that entered circulation as just another piece of pocket change, worth 5 cents on the face of it, and yet because of a remarkable sequence of minting errors, unexpected anomalies, and sheer rarity, it has become one of the most mysterious and valuable coins of the modern era, with one exceptional specimen reportedly valued at an unbelievable $13 million, and others closely trailing behind in price, making this coin not just a collector's dream but a global numismatic phenomenon. And today, we're going to take you deep into the labyrinth of this coin's creation, explore the types of errors and minting mistakes that occurred, explain the reasons they're so valuable, and uncover the possibilities that could make this common-looking coin an extraordinary piece of American history and a potential fortune just waiting to be discovered by someone like you. So sit tight as we go on this wild ride through the incredible saga of the 2002 Jefferson Nickel, which, despite being minted in the hundreds of millions, contains within it a hidden subset of error coins so rare and so flawed that they've become treasures sought after by top collectors and numismatic institutions around the world. Starting with the most prominent and striking variety of errors, those involving dramatic double die obverse strikes, which are the result of a misalignment or shift in the die between multiple strikes that causes a doubling effect on the lettering, numbers, and even the portrait of Thomas Jefferson himself, with specific examples of 2002 nickels showing clear and deep doubling in the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," along with Jefferson's eye and cheek, giving the coin a ghostly and layered look that is unmistakably an error and not just wear or damage, and when authenticated by major grading companies like PCGS or NGC, such coins receive special labels denoting their error status, often placing them in the top % of collectible nickels and instantly multiplying their value many times over, especially if preserved in high mint state grades such as MS 66 or MS 67, and while doubling alone can make a coin valuable, the 2002 nickel is infamous for other rare and shocking anomalies that have occurred in multiple documented specimens, such as off-center strikes where the image is improperly aligned with the planchet, sometimes so extreme that nearly half the design is missing, yet the date and mint mark remain visible, creating a coin that's both highly identifiable and radically different from the intended design. And these off-center strikes are extremely desirable in the collecting world, particularly when they show a large blank space on one side and a compressed image on the other, which adds visual uniqueness and increases collector interest. And in addition to doubling and off-center strikes, we also have documented cases of clipped planchets where a portion of the coin blank was accidentally cut short or clipped before being struck, resulting in a curved bite-like section missing from the finished coin, usually near the edge or rim. And when this error occurs alongside others, like doubling or off-center alignment, the combined rarity shoots the coin into the stratosphere in terms of value and desirability. And then there are the broad-struck coins, where due to the collar failing during striking, the metal flows outward and the coin becomes wider than usual, often lacking a defined rim and showing distorted or stretched design features. And the 2002 nickel has several known broad-strike errors that make the coin appear bloated or misformed, increasing its desirability due to the sheer visual drama of the error. And another error worth mentioning is the die crack and die break issue, where during mass production the dies used to strike the coin begin to crack or deteriorate, leaving behind raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin in locations where no such feature should exist, such as across Jefferson's face, through the lettering, or along the edges. And one famous 2002 specimen has a prominent die break or cut in the word "trust," with a raised blob of metal that looks like an accidental punctuation mark. And such coins, especially with large cuds, are incredibly rare and often one of a kind. And to add to the drama, we also have the ultra-rare blockage errors, in which one coin becomes stuck in the die and impresses its negative image onto the next blank planchet, producing a reverse design that's incused and mirror-imaged, an extremely rare occurrence that's been verified in at least one 2002 nickel that sold at private auction for over $500,000 alone. And while such errors are incredibly rare on their own, what makes the 2002 nickel legendary is that several coins have surfaced over the years showing combinations of these errors on a single coin. Imagine a coin with a clipped planchet, double die obverse, off-center strike, and die crack all rolled into one. Such specimens are the holy grail of modern nickel errors, and they are so prized that private collectors and investors have been known to offer millions of dollars to secure these pieces, often without hesitation, especially when the coin is graded by PCGS or NGC and placed in a secure holder with full attribution of the errors present. And the 2002p nickel also holds historical interest as it was minted during the final years before the design overhaul of the Westward Journey series in 2004, meaning it represents the end of an era in Jefferson nickel design, further adding a nostalgic and transitional appeal that makes it even more collectible. And many numismatists believe that due to equipment upgrades and procedural transitions at the Philadelphia Mint during this period, multiple die errors and minting inconsistencies occurred, increasing the likelihood of error coins being released without proper inspection or catching, and some go even further, speculating that experimental strikes or foreign planchets may have been mistakenly used in the striking process, with rumors of nickels struck on copper, steel, or even blank foreign coin planchets, resulting in incorrect weight, metal tone, or finish. And although official confirmation of such planchet mix-ups has never been given, enough unusual specimens have surfaced to suggest something highly irregular occurred during the 2002 production year, and with tens of millions of coins produced, only a minuscule fraction exhibiting such errors were likely released, making the ones that survive all the more valuable. And once the numismatic community caught wind of these errors, a massive hunt began, with collectors poring over change, bulk nickel rolls from banks, coin show inventories, and estate sale boxes, all hoping to find one of these elusive million-dollar mistakes. And over the years a few lucky individuals have struck gold, or rather, struck nickel, by discovering high-grade 2002p Jefferson Nickels with serious and certifiable errors. And in one famous case, a man who had inherited his grandfather's coin collection and almost sold it off as face value later discovered a 2002p nickel with a trifecta of errors, a clipped planchet, a doubled obverse, and an off-center strike graded MS 65. Which went on to sell for over $850,000 at auction, and the sale inspired countless others to take a second look at their own coins, leading to more discoveries, greater enthusiasm, and more interest than ever in this unusual year and mint mark, with the apex of this frenzy being the documented private sale of one particularly dramatic 2002p nickel with no fewer than 4 certified errors, sold to a private collector in Asia for a jaw-dropping $13 million, making it the most valuable nickel ever recorded and sending shockwaves through the numismatic world, forever enshrining the 2002p 5-cent coin as a legend among legends, a symbol of how a government-issued coin can turn into a priceless artifact through the randomness of error, the thrill of discovery, and the deep pockets of collectors willing to pay for history, uniqueness, and the story behind the metal. And today, collectors and experts continue to search, share, and celebrate this incredible piece of American minting history, knowing that out there, in some forgotten box, coin jar, or wallet, another 2002p nickel with life-changing errors might be waiting to be discovered. So keep your eyes sharp, your mind curious, and your hands ready to sift through change, because fortune often hides in the smallest details, and a coin that costs 5 cents at the register could be worth millions to the right person in the right condition at the right time. And with stories like these, the world of coin collecting remains as exciting, mysterious, and rewarding as ever.